answer any questions if she pops on.
Okay.
Okay, so I have, can you see my screen or our screen with the REI Blackbook pulled up?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. So we're in our demo account instead of being on your account. We are planning on using this call really as a video that other people can watch and can see so that they understand exactly how to get started now that the build out is complete. And I think, you know, if you have specific questions or anything like that, everything that we've built for you is in this account. So if you have questions, just ask them. We'll just give an overview of really how to get started using REI Blackbook and using the build out and using the tools. And then we can go from there. Sound good? Oh, perfect timing. Hi, Ayanti.
Thanks for joining.
Hello, Ayanti, can you hear us? Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Here we go. So when you log into REI Blackbook, now that you have this powerful tool, really the biggest thing is understanding that this is where your business is going to live and this is where it's going to thrive. And so making sure you're logging into the tool every day is going to be huge. Making sure that you have REI Blackbook on your phone and that you just stay logged in on your phone. It won't log you out. Everything on REI Blackbook is very mobile friendly. So they don't have an app or anything, but you can just have it on your, you know, Safari or Chrome, and then just use it just the same way you do a desktop, and it's pretty easy to use. So the first thing I tell people is in how to use REI Blackbook is I log in and first thing I do is I look at my task summary and I look to see exactly what is due that day. So we just see, okay, overdue, I have 3 things overdue and nothing today. I would go to the task list and I would see what I need to do. So here I have to follow up with the contact and if listed. So these are just tasks. As you complete them, you can just click on the big checkbox and they'll go away. Then if you open up that contact, you'll see what's been completed already.
These tasks, are these the ones that you have to make them a task yourself, right, in the system?
So you make them a task yourself, or it's automatically generated based on your landing pages that we've created for you, or your call flows and the workflows we've created for you. So they'll automatically generate based on the activity that's happening in your account. You can also add them manually. So if all of a sudden, you know, you say, I need to go to this, I need somebody to go to this flip today, go meet the contractor. And you can manually add it here. You can tag the project, you can tag a contact, the property, all of that. So you can manually add tasks here as well.
The thing about this is when you see some of the automations we built, like when someone calls you or a repeat caller, let's say, you're going to have a couple of tasks automatically fill your plate. Like you can see here, it's been 72 hours since that lead came in. So we want you to know about that to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. So that's one example, excuse me, of some automatic tasks being added to your list. So you might trigger, here's one as an example for us. I don't know if we have it in this account, but like if we have a rental property that we're about to put on the market because the tenant's moving out, we can do a workflow and it'll be like, call the handyman, you know, get in touch with the carpet people and the cleaning lady and be sure to update the rents on the flyer. But there might be 7 tasks, but that workflow is automate what I need to remember for a rental property turnover. Boom, you click the button and now you already have your task sequence out. One task is due today, 2 tasks are due tomorrow, another task is 3 days. So you're having that repeatable process, whether it's for a flip, a rental, a wholesale deal, etc. So that's kind of the idea behind the task, is you actually don't have to create everything you do one by one. You can use the automation to say, give me my checklist for rental property, and it's assigned to the team members that it needs to be if it's more than just you.
Okay, and then when you're building, like, I've only kind of messed around with building a workflow. Does that, I mean, I know how it has like the next step. Is there in there like the next step is add a task to it, or how do you add a task to your custom workflow?
Okay, I'll go over there right now. Last thing I want to show you on the tasks is once you are managing other people and have other team members, if you see here, it says all tasks, you can click on that and then you can see what's incomplete that's assigned to everybody. So that way you can see all the different tasks that are open, and you can also choose, okay, I want to see only what test team has due today, because if that person calls out or if that person, you know, is no longer there, you want to be able to go over and make sure that they're staying on top of their tasks. So as far as workflows go, we'll go into the workflows. And when you add a new workflow, here are all the different choices of what you can have happen. And so one of them here is task. And so if you're just going to add a task, this is what you would say. So input notes from seller lead. You'll see that this task happens if you answer the phone. And we put this task just as a friendly reminder, because a lot of times we answer the phone and then we handwrite stuff down, or, you know, we don't put in the notes right away. And so this just gives us an automatic reminder of, oh yeah, I need to go back and document the notes of that call. You can put in the details here, and if you want to use landing pages or other links, you can put them, use this, and then who you assign it to, different type of task that it is, etc.
Okay.
So that's for your workflows. As far as overall use of the system, I'm going to come back out of here. So we've built your system so that you can generate leads, and then when your leads come in, that's when the system starts working for you. So everything is going to start in your inbox, right? So your inbox is your phone system, assuming you're doing some kind of phone marketing, which I know you are. So in your inbox, you're going to have your callers, and then you're going to have your text messages. So your callers are going to be assigned to a call flow. We have built the call flow for you. And then your text messages, you're going to answer manually so that you have just a regular text communication with somebody, unless you use specific keywords. And I'll go through the keywords secondly. So for the call flows, there's generally three options that we use. And I just want to explain all of them just to make sure we cover all the bases. So the first one, your phone call is gonna come in, your seller lead is gonna come in, and then our system is going to identify them as a wholesale seller, and is also going to identify if they're a first-time caller or a second-time caller or a repeat caller. That way you know that your first-time callers, generally you want to filter them a little bit differently than your repeat callers. Your repeat callers are going to be ones that are higher VIP. They're going to be ones where you want to talk to them. And so here is where you would have it forward to either your cell phone, a voicemail, or to a third party like Pat Live. With the forwarding, just a couple different things. If you ever build these out, or if you're running into any issues with forwarding, two things that I want to mention. One is if you are having calls forward to your cell phone, whether it's the first time caller or repeat callers, it doesn't matter. If you're ever having phone calls coming to your cell phone, you want to make sure that the profit dial number called is what displays on your caller ID. And that is because you want to save that number, your marketing number, in your cell phone as a marketing number to say, this is the money line ringing, this is your lead calling. So that way you know to answer it and not to just skip out on a possible lead.
Number, I'm not answering. No, you see that it's your seller number, like, okay, let me put my game face on and pull over or get focused. So,
right.
Okay, so I have a question about that. First question, when it's forwarded to your phone, is it forwarded to your phone's voicemail, or is it a custom voicemail it goes to after that?
Okay, so that's a great question. That goes into this part about how long to wait. So what happens is we've set it up. So ideally, if you don't answer, it goes back into Profit Dial. It goes back into REI Blackbook. So if for whatever reason you're getting seller leads on your voicemail, then one of two things is happening. Either this amount of time is too long. That means your voicemail is picking up before the 20 seconds has elapsed. And then the other option that could be happening is if you're actually declining your call. So your phone rings and you push decline because maybe you're in a meeting or whatever, then it's going to go to your phone, your voicemail. So you can silence your phone to make sure that you don't have to deal with it, but don't reject it, because if you reject it, it's going to your voicemail, not the system.
And then I'm assuming there's a way we can make custom voicemails in the system.
Yes, absolutely. And we've created a voicemail box greeting for you, so you at least have a greeting in place right now. But you can go in to any of your recordings, you can upload whatever recording you want, and you can put it there. Once your call flow answers, you're either going to have a task there. If it's going to your phone, it's going to give you a task to remember to enter the details into REI Blackbook. But if you have a third party answering the phone, or if you're giving people a call back, this is where you're going to want to have your landing page up. That's your seller lead script. So here's your seller lead script, and if you click on the little domain, if you click on the little chain link, you'll get the domain address, and you'll be able to copy the link, and you can open it in a new browser, and then just save that link to your favorites. You put it on your desktop on your phone. Also, that would be the link you would give to a third party so that they could fill it out. So once this seller lead script is filled out, all of this is going to do different things. So once you click submit, then it's going to trigger a workflow. So a workflow is what REI Blackbook calls essentially the same thing as a call flow, except it's triggered by a landing page, not by a caller. Does that make sense? Okay. So when this is filled out, then that's when you get the tasks to evaluate your property. We might as well go ahead and fill out the test one.
So what is filling this out that you need to think about is when you move into the realm of wanting to practice creating good flows, one of the best things you can do is just bust out a pen and paper and kind of draw boxes and arrows and think about like, all right, what do I want to work with? Even looking at ingredients, right? I've got tasks, I've got forwarding, I've got text replies, I've got notifications. How do I want to use all those cooking ingredients to combination up? And that's when you start to realize there's some powerful combinations that you can put in place.
So that gets submitted. So let's, if you're submitting these seller lead scripts, then you're going to know that you have lead forms coming in, obviously, because you're the one doing it. But if you have a third party doing it, that's where it becomes critical to look at the dashboard to see, okay, how many web forms are coming in today? Because that's going to help tell you what's happening. And then that's where you see, okay, now I have new tasks due. It's because that web form just came in. So if I looked at my task list, then I would see here it says evaluate lead comp property. Okay, so when you want to evaluate the lead and comp the property, you're going to want to use your next landing page. And this is why we named our landing pages 1, 2, 3, 4, is to help identify which is the next one to use. But when you comp your property, you're going to comp your property however you want to comp it, right? Everybody has their own tools, whether they use the MLS, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, whatever it is to get your comps. Everybody does it their own way. But you're going to want to pull up your property evaluation landing page. And this is going to be, so you can document notes from your evaluation, right? So you can see, okay, I think the ARV is 200,000. Okay, and then you put in how much you're going to get for a cash offer. If you have any questions, inevitably when you're comping properties, you're going to find something where it's like, I either need to ask that to the seller, or hey, keep this in mind when you go and walk this property. And so that's why you put these here. And then the next step. These are all going to trigger different workflows, okay? So a cash offer is going to give you different tasks than setting an appointment or then canceling, right? Because if you need to cancel and you're not going to give a cash offer, then you wouldn't need to do those same steps as a cash offer. So that's one of the really cool things about REI Blackbook is that you can set up these dynamic workflows so that it can adjust based on the answers you provide in your forms. So we'll say cash offer and then green, yellow, or red lead. So these are also translated to hot, warm, and cold leads, right? So your hot leads are your green leads, your yellows are your warm, and then your reds are your cold leads. And these are the different types of cold leads that we come across. And they all have different implications, right? Like I wouldn't want, if you don't have any interest in the property, I don't want to keep marketing to that person. I don't want them to keep calling, no matter how motivated they are. I don't want their property, right? Versus somebody who's saying, don't call me back. That's completely separate. And then also your green here, it triggers your green lead workflow, green lead follow-up workflow. So then as soon as this is filled out, they are on a follow-up campaign. And if it's yellow, it triggers a different follow-up campaign. They're essentially the same campaigns, but your hot leads, you want to touch a lot more frequently than your warm leads. And then who submitted the form, this is where you can put your different team members. And if you have different team members, then it's going to tag your their contact record with, your VA is who talked to this person, right? Or who filled this out. So you'll submit this. And you'll see that now there's more tasks due right now. And so you'll be able to come in here and you'll see, okay, now I have to call and give a cash offer for this person. And so this is key for anybody's assistant or for yourself, is just making sure that throughout the day you're watching your task list and seeing what you have to do. And the beautiful thing about automation is what Drew was talking about earlier, having a list, having a checklist of all the different things that happen at tenant turnover time, or as you get wholesale seller leads, or as you take on flip properties. You know, the steps are essentially the same, and you want them to be the same, and you want to make sure that you remember exactly where in the process you are with every single lead. And that's what this helps you do, because you see, okay, cash offers due for Risha 1, 2, 3. Okay, you know, Drew 1, 2, 3 comes in 2 days, then cash offer due is for Drew now, you know, and oh, I need to comp these properties. And so you can sit there and you can go through and comp properties and fill out your landing page every day for it. Do you have questions so far? You're good? Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say so far?
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking to add is, like, imagine if you had so many deals going on at one time. It's like, all right, I got 5 deals under contract, but for whatever reason, it was late Saturday night, you start marketing the property, you're busy with other deals, then you realize it's Monday afternoon. Sorry for my allergies. But like, you realize you got this property under contract, you're marketing it, and you forgot to open escrow. Like, could you imagine having that much going on, except for as simple as that slips through the cracks, and now you got valuable days being lost because you're trying to get a seller payoff, and it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't open escrow 3 days late. Or worse yet, a lead came in and I played phone tag with them, and never connected with them. Now it's been 4 days because I forgot to follow up. I called them back, but 72 hours have passed and I haven't connected with the lead. Now you've got a friendly reminder in your system saying, hey, have you connected with this lead? Simple things like that can be the difference between a deal slipping through the cracks and an extra $5,000 in your pocket this month. It just has to do with simple things. Like, you don't need to be instructed to open escrow, but sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be instructed.
So we have this 72 hours since lead came in. That's a great point, Drew. We have added the 72 hours since lead came in to the workflows. And so when you see that pop up, all it is just a friendly reminder, like Drew said, to make sure that you've connected with the person and that nothing is getting lost in the cracks. You know, especially when you have team members, you want to have the 72 hours since lead came in. You want to have that assigned to you as an account owner, not for the team member, because then that way you can make sure that your team member is doing what they want and they're not letting deals slip. So that's there. So that's essentially what you're going to do for all your sellers, and that's it. It's pretty simple. Your seller leads, it's pretty simple, and it works itself as they come in. They get tagged the right way. All of those things are in your system right now. They get on the follow-up campaigns. You should have received all the emails that go out to them, so you can look through all the emails, autoresponders. And if you want any of the content of those emails changed, then we can update those. But they're all in your account and ready for your seller leads. As far as buyers go, we've done a couple unique things. One is we're going to have your landing page for your buyers. This is number 3. It's investor profile, or cash buyer preferences is what it's labeled in your account. And so this is where you can either use it as a client-facing page, or you can have an assistant use it, or yourself use it as an internal page where you call out to buyers and you fill out this information of what their preferences are. That way, when you want to send out a property, you're able to segment your database based on their preferences. So let's see.
So as she's filling this out, this will be a great example of the power of tags. And what tags can do for you when you look to filter your contact list, because inevitably your contact list is going to grow. But sometimes you want a quick snapshot of who's my buyers in Texas, but I specifically need the ones in Fort Worth and Dallas. I don't need anyone in San Antonio or Austin right now. And so by being drop downs, marks are tied to areas and flags, let you start to see some of that.
So I went back to REI Blackbook. And so let's say you have a property you want to blast out to your buyers. You're going to go to your contacts. And this is how you segment your database. Here is a little filter button, a little funnel button. You can click on that. And then you can look up your different custom fields here. So let's see. Let's say price point we're looking at, and under 100K. And let's just say that's the only filter we want for right now. You would just apply it, and you would see if there's any buyers that come up. If there's nobody, then you need to go build your buyers list more. Let's see the 100 to 250. I created one.
Did you fill in that? You finished the left one?
Yeah, I did.
Now, is that screen specifically for, oh, because you put buyer 100. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Where did I? Let me go look and see what. Let me see what I put for my buyers. I filled out the profile.
Probably put 500,000.
Test buyer. Okay. Under 100, 100 to 250 buyer price point. It's buyer price point. Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so let me go back to contacts. And if you click on the filter, then what you're going to look at is you're going to go add new. And we're looking for buyer price point. And then here you'll be able to see, okay, this is your buyer price point. Apply, and it will pull the contacts that are under 100K. And then from here, you can grab just that one person, or you can click on this little checkbox here. Click here to select all items. If you had more than 25, because only 25 show up on that first page, you could click here to select all 72 or all 287 or whatever it is. And then you could click on actions, and you can send out a text blast, you can send out a ringless voicemail, an email, or if you had some kind of workflow created for them, you would be able to do that right from this screen.
This is great when you've said, okay, I've got this property in a specific area and a price point. You run a search on your buyers, blast right from there, and only that subset will get your, you might have made an email, right? You might just send out a text with an address and a link to some photos. So that's like people, because if your buyers are high-end buyers, they might not do content. So you want to serve up what they're looking for.
So then the next thing I wanted to just touch on real quick, I'm going to go ahead and open up our test buyer. I'm going to show you that there are ways that you can segment your database. There's two different ways. One is if you create tabs. Tabs are up here, and you can create as many of them as you want. These are going to be for different types of contacts. So if you're going to have, in your details, have just your name and your phone number and contact information for everybody. That's going to be in the details tab. Then if you have cash buyer, this is going to be for your buyers. You can add them, tenants. It's going to be the information that you want to collect for tenants. If it's for property finders, you can have custom fields for your property finders. You're going to want to use these custom fields in tabs when it's a piece of information that's not going to change often. It might change and it's totally easy to update here, but if it's data that doesn't change very frequently, you're going to want to go ahead and put them as a tab. Otherwise, on the right hand side over here, you'll see that there's tags, and tags are also called flags, but tags are for something that might change frequently. For instance, a brand new property finder. They are going to go through different steps of where they are in your process. And so that's something that will change frequently, so that's what we would use a tag for. Okay, then the next thing I want to talk about for the buyers is I want to show you something really cool that we created, which is our workflow. So in marketing under workflows, you'll see on the left-hand side, you'll see keywords. And here are the different keywords that you can create. And you can create as many of these as you want. You can use sell as a keyword. You can use different keywords to get people, as you're marketing, to get people calling in or texting in. So we created the buyer one for you. This workflow is if somebody texts in the word buyer, you assign it to whichever phone number and then the workflow that's going to be used. So we're going to go into workflows on the left-hand side. And where's cash buyer? Okay, here it is. All right, so then if you are going to do marketing for buyers, and maybe you have this on your business card, text buyer to this phone number to get on our cash buyers list or to get discounted properties texted to you. They're going to text in, they're going to be labeled as a cash buyer prospect, and then they're going to receive a text message, and this landing page in the link is going to direct them to your cash buyer landing page, your investor profile landing page that we already went over. And so then they're going to be able to fill out that form, and now you have people adding themselves to your database and you didn't have to do anything. You'll also see that we put a note in there and we let you know that, hey, you have a new you have a new cash buyer. And then it's going to wait a day and it's going to see if they filled out the form of their investor profile. And if they did, then it's going to stop. It's, they're not going to be bothered or anything else by you. But if they have not, then we create a task for you so that you can actually physically call them and fill out the form on their behalf. So that's how the automated part works for your cash buyers. So at this point, do you have any questions, Isaac or Ayanti?
Hi, I had a question about my my website. You said I could put a form on there. Would it be a form that looks similar to that, or am I going to be essentially redirecting from my website to the form?
Okay, yeah, so you'll be putting this form, okay, web forms. You'll be able to put your cash buyer preferences or your investor profile form on as a page on your website. So we created a landing page, and a landing page, just to make sure everybody understands the difference between a landing page and a website. A website is a place where it's, people verify your credibility and they look at it as, okay, all the different things. It's like a big menu of options that people can select from. And then they can give you their name and email address, all of that there. But a landing page, there's only one thing that people can do. It's driving them to say, hey, you're a cash buyer. The only thing you can do on this page is give me your information to be added to my cash buyers list. So you as the account owner can choose where you want this information to be placed. Do you want it to be placed on your website so that if there's a cash buyer just happens to be looking at your website and then they want to put this information in? Totally possible, and it's a good thing to do. You would grab the web form to do that. If you want it to be just using your landing page, then you would click on the landing pages here, and you would be able to grab the link right on the chain link, this one right here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Isaac, do you have any questions? Okay, so these are the main things that we built out for you. There's a lot of details in each one of these, but that's why we're going to go ahead and give this recording to you guys so that you have access to see it and watch it again and again to understand exactly how to use the tool and use the automations that you built. And then also, that's where your deliverables are in that email that we sent you. So you can look at those YouTube videos that are just a couple minutes long in each one, just to understand, okay, I want to know more about my seller lead script. So that video is focused only on the seller lead script. I want to know only about my, my cash buyers. Then you watch that video. That way, it's just, you never have to feel like you're intrusive or imposing. We've heard, and we've been in that position too, where it's like, okay, somebody has taught us something. I should know that it made sense when they were teaching it, and now it's 2 in the morning and I forgot it. And I really want to be able to use it, and I don't want to ask because it's 2 in the morning, or I don't want to ask because it's such a basic question. And Drew and I are open books. We're happy to help however we can. And we don't want you to feel bad for asking, but we also want to empower you to get the answers yourself and to have access to the answers at any time of day, because we're busy just like everybody else. So we don't want to leave you hanging.
Did you want to show them, I guess briefly, since knowing you guys are new to the platform, so again, the videos that we created for you, they'll also be in your own contact profile. So we created a contact record for you. That's what I meant to and that way, it's like if you ever lose that email or you get buried under the 1,000 of other emails, I don't know if we have it in any of these test contacts yet, but find yourself in your own CRM and open it up. We put the goodies from the delivery email, the 100% complete, in here. So that's important. And then one other thing I would say is, like, if you don't know really where to start, I know that you're also getting emails from Blackbook. So there's kind of like the Jumpstart series of videos that are good to give you a full overview of what the platform can do for you. This session is kind of like the same thing, but for the whole overview of what we built out. And then the videos in the email are like each piece. I've only got 5 minutes. Give me just the facts about this component. That's what that's designed to do. So this ought to be kind of a 1-2 combination of give you just the ingredients, and give you the whole enchilada, so to speak. So,
what were you saying about on the contacts page here?
Yeah.
So in your system, when you log in and you click on contacts, go and find yourself. We've created a contact record for you. And then that way you can open it up and you'll see in the notes section, you'll see that we've pasted that whole email that we sent you with your deliverables of like where the links are to the videos and the links to your landing page, all that. We've pasted that here. That way, in case your email accidentally gets deleted or anything like that, you have access to everything we built you in your REI Blackbook system.
Okay.
Now, one thing that is important for you guys to know in general is that REI Blackbook themselves as a company has an extensive library of like how-to videos, support center, webinar replays, live Q&A. So you can get like the actual training on, I need official training for building my own website or my own landing page. That is all in there. These training videos we provided were really to help you get launched with using what we built. Because the platform, to be fair, can do a lot more than what we built, but we wanted to get people using what's like most essential, especially around the wholesaling component. So that's why we made those videos in the way we did. They're like a use case scenario, and then the how to build it from scratch is going to be there in the manuals that you can like read those one by one.
Yeah.
Want to like continue the education. This is designed for the quick start, have it all set up,
Right.
and usable. So to whatever level you want to take your education with the tool and each component of it, that is already out there in the support section. Resources. There's some resources there also that you can look up and see other info in there.
So, and if you haven't already, make sure you're in the Facebook group, the REI Blackbook Connect. Make sure you're just tuned into that. It's super active, and the whole community is really there and willing to help. So make sure you just tune in there.
Okay.
So, are there any? Do you guys have any other questions that we can answer here tonight?
So I definitely have some questions.
Okay.
And some of the stuff that you guys are showing, I'm excited about. I just don't really feel like I'm there to be using some of that stuff
Yep.
Okay.
now. But so when I had signed up for the system, and this is kind of why I had signed up, and I just have some questions about. I had built my own custom workflow that I was playing with yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like my marketing thing.
Yeah.
And basically what it is I set up a text, then it's going to send an email as soon as I send a text, then it's going to RVM them, and then so forth with a couple other things.
Yeah.
But so I can start, if I'm understanding this correct, I can start a workflow without them contacting me, right? I just upload the list, tag it, and then, okay.
Yep, and you just go to the contacts, you pull the tag, you do whatever filters you need to grab those people, and here you're going to click next to the name button, and like it says here, you have selected 25 items. Click here to select all 590. So you'll want to make sure that you click on this link so you can grab everybody, and once you grab everybody, you can click on actions, and you can trigger a workflow. So in your specific workflows that we've created, what you're going to want to do is you're going to upload the list, you're going to tag them, you're going to click on this just like I did, trigger the workflow for that first step, that first list, and then on the same day, right as you're doing this with the same list, you're going to trigger the second workflow. And that's because there's the workflow that's going to go out, the text message, the voicemail, the email, all of those sequences is step one. But then there's going to be a delay, and then that second text message is going to go out from the separate phone number, and it's going to be the different messaging and the ringless voicemail and the email. So
wait, can you say that again with that's if I have a delay in the workflow?
No, so what we've created for you, and this is specific for the request you had, is we have list A, right? So we have list A, and then the people are going to move eventually to list B, or they're going to fall off, right? So when you upload your list, you're going to take that list and you're going to select all of them, and you're going to trigger both workflows that we created for you. The first workflow is called list A, and then the second workflow is called list B, and list B starts off with a delay. So list A is going to hit, and they're going to get the text message right away. If they call you back in, then nothing's going to happen with list B. Like they're not, if they've already filled out a seller lead script, then they're going to be taken off that marketing. But if they don't, then all of a sudden, the second marketing message that's going to give them come from a different phone number, that's going to go out after 14 days or 30 days. I'd have to go and look, but it starts off with a delay, and it goes with a different phone number.
So that kind of answers my second question, I think it answers my second question. My second question was, okay, let's say I send the text out, and this happens a lot, is when I send the text out, people will call me rather than text me back sometimes just to make sure it's not spam, and I'm sure that they're getting blown up by other investors. So whenever they call back, they're going to be completely out of that workflow, correct?
So what we can do it one of two ways. I would suggest that we take them out of those workflows only if they fill out a seller lead script versus if they call back. Because what happens is if they call back and they say, nope, I'm not interested in selling right now, and they hang up, then there's no more marketing going to them. But you might want them to still get the marketing going to them. But if they filled out a lead script, then all of a sudden you want the marketing to stop because now they're at a different part of your funnel.
So when you say when they fill out a set, you're talking about whenever we
fill out the lead script, the internal one. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then I had another question. So do you guys recommend with like the texting and the RVMing, I mean, I'm really not doing too many numbers per day. I would probably, where I'm at right now, I'm not sending more than 100 messages, whether it's text or voicemails. But do you guys recommend, I know some of the other systems I were using, like they want you to use different numbers so it's not looked at as spam through the phone carriers. Do we have a problem with REI Blackbook numbers?
No, you're not doing high enough volume for that to be an issue. I mean, we would go through, let's see, I would say to stay under like a couple thousand. I mean, we're doing thousands a day and not have it be an issue.
Okay. So it's not an issue if I send the text, the RVM from the same numbers, it's okay. From the same number. Because I actually want it to be from the same number so that people can say like, hey, this guy really wants to talk to me rather than the one and done phone call that they're getting from other people.
Yep.
Okay,
cool. Same number over and over. We've had the same number for years and not been an issue.
Okay. Now the next question is, so a lot of times when I send the text out, people will call me and they're like, hey, you texted me about my house and I did want to talk to you about it. How does it work? Like, because you had said, okay, if we set it up to where it's going to show the number from REI Blackbook and not their phone number when they call back, is there a way I can go in the system and look up, like, is it going to show on the system when they call me, like, hey, you're on the phone with so-and-so, this phone number?
You're gonna let me show it to you this way. So if we're in here and we got the seller number, let's just give you guys an actual number to see this for real. So if they're calling the AZ test number, when a seller calls that phone number, that's what's showing up on my caller ID. So for me, I know like, oh, AZ test number's call, I got to pick this up. So at that point, technically when you're picking it up, you don't know that that's seller calling because you're just seeing AZ test number. You don't know if it's Joe until you answer. But then obviously once you know that you're talking to Jeff and not Joe, the system knows that too. So if you were to get like, if obviously you know who you're talking to at that point, that information and that call is logged under the appropriate person.
While I'm on the phone, I'm able to see it on the system? Like the system picks it up that says that you're on the phone with this specific phone number?
There's going to be a little delay. So it's better to just have it, just ask,
Okay.
Who am I speaking to? I've gone as extreme. I don't think we all need to lie necessarily, but I've gone as extreme as be like, my screen is broken on my phone. I can't see who's calling me, I mean, and people respond just fine to that. There's no big deal.
Yeah, or you could happen to say, I'm in the field right now and I just got this call forwarded to me. Can you repeat your name for me or remind me who I'm speaking with? Because the call did get forwarded, right? But yeah, as far as like someone being on the phone, I do want to say that yes, there's a delay, but more often than not, like if I'm on the phone 3 minutes after, a couple minutes of, the screen's going to refresh and it's going to show that a call has come in. Right. But it's not going to be tracking it real time. So you'd probably have to hit refresh and see, okay, it's 2 minutes into the call, refresh 3 minutes into the call. I haven't tested.
And by 3 minutes into the call, you should know who you're talking to if it's a 3 minute.
Right. So, okay, whenever you say like, okay, what is your name?
Yeah.
Are you on that search bar? Are you able to type like their first name and then it's going to have like all the Marys pop up?
In the search bar, right here, you're only going to see what's in the inbox.
Right.
But you'd have to go to contacts. And then from there, you would be able to pull, their whole file. Now, if they've called you, you can open it up and search it just the way Drew did in the inbox. But it's better to go into the contacts and make sure you've got the right person pulled up.
Okay. And then in that same search bar, you can type in their phone number and it's their specific phone number is just going to be the one that, like, if you typed in 222-333-4444, that would pop up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then you can also, just as far as general data point for contacts, you can search on properties and tags too. So let's say, I think property we usually put as like 123 Main Street or something like that. And you can already see it's coming up as a short drop. And then, this is the contact. Sometimes they're like, oh, you don't know this is? You talk to me about 123 Main Street. Like, But in those instances, it's no different than when you're on the phone with people. It's like, I'm sorry, my computer system seems to be acting a little bit slow today. It's always when you ask them a tough question, right? Oh, the computer's thinking. So, I mean, we can do this kind of stuff if you need to. But we've even told people, like, if you don't remember it, Joe and Jeff sound the same. Okay, give me a second, Jeff. Let me just pull up a couple of notes in my system to make sure I've got all the freshest data. Because the fact of the matter is you talk to enough people that you're not going to remember the difference between Joe and Jeff and you had the 2-story or the 2-car garage. Those details don't stick.
And it's I have found it to be more effective to not have that information. Obviously, to show that you remember conversations with leads and sellers that you've been talking to for a while. But if you want to show that you have enough, that you have a lot of business going on. And so it's like, well, I do this with so many people. I talk to so many people every day.
Yeah.
I need to pull up your notes on your specific house. And that's gone over really well for us. And it just shows people like, hey, this is a business. It's not just a random call to.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think that's my main questions that I had right now. The other question that I had is, let me see. So I start up slow computer. So I guess what and I think I know the answer to this question. And so a lot of times, of course, we're not by our computers whenever we get a call. I don't have anyone answering my phone calls right now. It's just me, but it works because I'm like I said, I'm only sending 50 to 100 messages out per day. So if let's say I'm out to eat and someone calls me and I usually always answer the phone, I can just take notes, right? And then come back here and then fill out the seller lead script, and then it doesn't have to be simultaneously while I'm on the phone.
That's
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all my questions.
Yep.
That's
good. So, and if you have other questions that come up, feel free to post in the Blackbook group on Facebook, or even in the REI Blackbook Connect group. Anywhere you can message us, you can get in contact with us. And there's a lot of people that are going to have the same questions. So it's always helpful if it is in the Facebook group. That way, we can all start to see them, and then it helps Drew and I know exactly what to include in videos that we make for people, and how we can serve you guys better. So we appreciate that.
I saw that there's REI Blackbook or Q&As. How often are those?
So we do, webinar, weekly webinar. It's on Wednesdays every week. Drew and I are usually on those ones, and now that we have this little guy, Drew is definitely on all the time. But that's every week. And then those are all recorded, and you can access them straight from your REI Blackbook account under the question mark.
Okay.
You can click on those.
Yeah, that's where I saw that.
So
And I know I've asked you guys a lot of questions as starting, but I've also contacted the support group, and they've been awesome too.
great.
The REI Blackbook support people.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, this whole company is really amazing, and they really care about their users. So, you know, always feel free to ask Drew and I, but also don't be shy to reach out to them. They're there to help and walk you through anything you need.
Okay.
So we appreciate your time tonight. I'm glad we got to get on the phone or get on the computer and walk you through it. And we'll send this link out to you, and we'll also put it in our Blackbook Ninjas group so that other people can see exactly how to use it, because there's quite a few people brand new to REI Blackbook as well.
No, I appreciate your guys' time, for seriously, and you guys always respond really quick on the Facebook, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We
Same
appreciate
here. I mean, your support was, you went above and beyond, because I told you I was working with someone to build my podio, and I spoke to you guys around the same time, and I just got my second email yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
So I am so grateful, because you know I wanted to do this by a certain time.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Everybody's trying to do. We get it.
It was amazing. Like I told my husband, they've been so great. So I'm the type of person that I'm going to go through the system and, you know, build some flows and answer some forms and see how it works out. And I'll probably ask you after I do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
hopefully this will be useful for your husband as well, to go along with the videos and the email that we sent. So.
Oh, definitely.
Well, we appreciate you guys, and have a great rest of your night, great weekend, and we'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.